Hi, I'll be talking about Raspberry Pi today. Let's get started with it. Plan of action. First we'll be seeing what Raspberry Pi is. Then we'll see the architecture of Raspberry Pi. Then we'll see some of the basic applications of Raspberry Pi. Then we'll have two hands-on. For the first hands-on will be on how to boot your Raspberry Pi, and then I'll show you how to make a web server out of it. What is Raspberry Pi? Raspberry Pi is a small computer with components mounted on a credit card size motherboard, running a dedicated version of Linux. So it's a pretty small device with the motherboard of the size of a credit card. It can fit into your pocket, and you can take it wherever you want, and plus you can use it as just like your normal PC. What is it capable of? It is capable of offering basic office computing, low-level gaming, internet and email access, media playback and many other features which you can expect from a normal PC. Just that your normal PC runs on a x86 based processor, but your Raspberry Pi, it runs an ARM processor, and it is very cheap too. How did the idea of Raspberry Pi started? It was early in 2006. Some people might be aware of Atmega 644 microcontroller. So it is somewhat based on that. Its schematics and PCB layout can be publicly found out online, so you can just Google about it. Moving on. Knowing your Pi. So this is how your Raspberry Pi looks like. So these are the components. Here, number one is your SD card slot. SD card slot, you can insert your SD card here. Second is your HDMI cable 2B, which is out here. 2B, this is RCA video port lead, so you can connect it to your TV. Then this is the audio jack. This is USB 2.0 Ethernet, and this is for powering the Pi. Hello. This is how your Raspberry Pi looks like. So as you can see, it's a credit card sized motherboard. So these are the two USB ports. This is your Ethernet port. This is your HDMI cable. This is your micro USB cable using which you will power up the device. This is your SD card slot. So SD card goes into this. Then this is your RCA video lead, and this is your audio lead. So you can connect your TV via the HDMI port or the RCA video lead. These are the GPIO ports, or the general purpose input output ports. You can connect these two devices. You can program your Pi and then connect it to the devices. So you can make devices like quadcopter or line follower or any other devices with it. And in between, if you see, there's a Broadcom chip. So and you use a SD card with it. Either you can purchase a SD card, or as I'm using it, you can use an adapter and have a micro SD with it. The spec sheet. So Raspberry Pi comes in two models, Model A and Model B. Model A is priced at $25 and Model B is priced at $35. Both the models pack a Broadcom BCM2835 chip. The clock rate is around 700 MHz of 700 MHz ARM processor, and you also have Broadcom Video Core 14, which has OpenGL-ES 2.0 support. The main difference between these two models is Model A has a 256 MB memory, while Model B has 512 MB memory. Plus, Model A has only one USB port. Model B has two USB ports. And Model A, you can't connect Model A with the network using a RJ45 Ethernet port. but in Model B you have an option of doing that. And if you look at the power rating, Model A consumes less power, around 1.5 watts, and Model B consumes around 3.5 watts. Moving on, the architecture of Pi, or as I would say, the driver APIs. So as you can see, the yellow colored boxes, these are the open source code, the orange colored boxes, and the maroon color box are the closed source code. So the Raspberry Pi kernel, which can be seen here, is actually based on Linux based operating system. The GPU hardware can be accessed via firmware image, which is loaded into the GPU at the boot time from the SD card. So this is the binary blob. And this part of the driver code was later released. However, much of the actual driver work is done using closed source GPU code. The part of application software uses calls to closed source runtime libraries like OpenMax, OpenGLES, OpenVG, which in turn use EGL, and they call the open source kernel driver APIs. And these are also the closed source API calls. Moving on, applications. Now we look at some of the basic applications of Raspberry Pi. So there are actually many applications, but we look into only some of the basic applications of Pi. Raspberry Pi based cloud servers. So OwnCloud came up with this idea. So I'll give you an overview about it. So you must be knowing about services like Dropbox, Flickr, Picasa, and many other cloud-based services. So what do these services do? These services actually offer you ways to store your calendar information, address book, data, music, and photos on cloud. So your private information is available on cloud, and you can access it anywhere on the go. So these services are actually free services, as in they have some free quota of 2 GB to 5 GB, but the not so free part of it is that your private data is actually stored on servers which is not in direct control of you. So you don't know where the servers are located, and you don't have information about it, and you can't go and physically access it. So, and let me give you an example. If you look at Google services, so suppose you and your friend they search for the same thing, suppose chocolate or anything else. So if you would see, if you log into your account and then do the search, you would get different results, and your friend would get different results. So Google actually customizes the search result based on your choice, based on the links which you click. So this is actually the private info, as in whatever you are searching for is actually private, and Google is not supposed to monitor that, but it customizes it without using your knowledge. Let me give you one more example. When you log into your Gmail account, so below the search bar, if you see, sometimes ads are displayed. So suppose if you are searching for a flat, or you are planning to buy a house, and you are receiving mails from many brokers and all, then Google would show ads which are relevant to different properties, just like Magic Bricks or etc. So it is actually looking in your mails and then learning as to what kind of ads you would be interested in. So that is another privacy invasion. So now getting back to OwnCloud, the best thing about OwnCloud is you can use your Raspberry Pi to host the server from your own house, so you have physical access to your server, and you can customize it according to your own needs, and the source code is freely available, so you can tweak around it and contribute to the project. Moving on, Pi UAVs. So as you can see in this diagram, this is a quadcopter with a Raspberry Pi mounted on it. So this is the project name is Phoenix. The project is aimed to create and cheap or affordable expendable flying drones. The main goal actually is to allow firefighters and law enforcement agencies to use cheap and affordable devices, and which could be used in large volume and at remote areas. Plus you can put many sensors on it and get relevant information, like recognizing sensors to detect smoke, flames, and etc. Depends on you which kind of sensors you want to use. Moving on, Raspberry Pi supercomputer. So Iridis Pi, as this project is known as, is a cluster which consists of 64 Raspberry Pi Model B nodes, each equipped with a 700 MHz ARM processor, having a 256 MB RAM and 16 GB SD card for local storage. So when this supercomputer was went through the benchmark LINPACK single node compute benchmark test, the results were 0.56 gigaflops of single precision performance and a mean double precision performance of 0.41 gigaflops for one Raspberry Pi version B board. The cluster of 64 Raspberry Pi version B computers, they gave a result of around 1.14 gigaflops at 216 watts, consuming 216 watts of power. So this is very cheap and affordable cluster. It costed around $4,000, so it is comparatively very cheap. And as you can see, there is no customized chassis around it. They use Lego blocks to put the Raspberry Pis, and these are the Ethernet cables, and these are the power cords, the micro USB power cords. Now we'll get started with the first hands-on, booting your Pi. So you need to go to this website, raspberrypi.org/downloads, and you'll find a number of distros here. So depending upon your choice and convenience, you can use any one of these. I'll be using Raspbian, this one, so you can download it. Now let's get started. First we have to go to the drive where we have loaded our where we have saved our image. So that is media. So as you can see, (2014) VZ Raspbian image. So it is saved under media and this drive. So it'll be actually a zip file. So first you need to unzip it. So unzip it and then you will get the image file with you. After that you need to take the SD card and insert it into your computer and see which disk the SD card has been mounted to. So as you can see, /f/mmc block 0p1. So it is mounted here, and you need to format your SD card in FAT32 file format. So please format it before you start doing the process. So first you unmount the device /dev/ziploc so that while we are writing the image into the SD card, nothing else can be copied into the card. So unmount it, then we check whether it's unmounted or not. As you can see, you can't find any MMC block 1 file system, so it has been mounted. Then we'll use the dd command to copy the image onto the memory card. So dd, then we specify the block size, that is 1 megabyte blocks we'll be copying. Then input file would be the image file. Please note, you have to put in the image file and not the zip file. And the output file should be your device the file system or the device name. And after that, press enter. Oh, permission denied. You need super user privileges for these, so just start sudo in front of it and you're good to go. So this might take a couple of minutes, and after that your SD card would be ready to use. And so as you can see, the image has been written on the SD card. Now key in the command sudo sync to make sure that the write buffer has been flushed and it is safe to unmount your SD card. Now you can take out your SD card and insert it into your Raspberry Pi and have fun. Below is the link and the guide which I followed to do this process, so you can have a look into it.